Hey, coming up on This Week in Radio Tech, our guest is Stephen Zagony. Maybe you haven't heard of Stephen Z, but you're going to know him well over the next hour. Stephen loves analog gear. It's so much fun to deal with, and dealing with it means usually refurbishing it. So Stephen has become an expert at refurbishing consoles, whether it's Auditronics or PR&E, cart machines, and other gear around the radio station. We've got some cool surprises on the show ahead. It's all coming up next on TWiRT.
This Week in Radio Tech is brought to you by Broadcasters General Store, with outstanding service, savings, and support. Online at bgs.cc. By Broadcast Bionics, with the Bionics Studio, including talk show control, social media, and visual radio. Broadcast Bionics brings exceptional audience engagement to radio and TV. By Air, featuring Playout One radio automation software, comprehensive streaming solutions, website content management, and social media tools for maximum listener engagement on the web at AIIR.com. By Angry Audio. Audio problems disappear when you get angry at angryaudio.com. And by Max Connect Wireless, prioritized high-speed internet service designed for transmitter sites and remote broadcasts.
Hey, welcome into This Week in Radio Tech, the show where we talk about everything from the microphone to that light bulb from the top of the tower. Hello, I'm Kirk Harnack. I'm so delighted that you're here. We've been here now for over 16 years, if my count is correct. And this is episode 773 of This Week in Radio Tech. You know, it's kind of a niche audience we have here, but you're part of the niche if you're watching this. We talk about broadcast engineering topics, especially radio, and some, of course, that relates to audio, that relates to routing and mixing in a radio facility, not necessarily a recording facility. And it also relates to studio to transmitter links and then transmission systems, getting the signal out to the public. You know, radio, the medium that's been around now for over 100 years. A lot of radio stations, older ones, have been celebrating their 100th anniversary here lately, including here in Nashville, where I am, WSM, home of the Grand Ole Opry, has been celebrating 100 years. So anyway, it's a big medium. Yes, lots of competition, always something around that's going to kill radio. I remember clearly when MTV came along and that was going to kill radio. And yeah, there's a lot of choices out there now. A lot of people, 97% or so, still listen to radio at least once a week. So we're glad to be here and glad to talk about things that make the engineering world exciting and fun. And today's episode is, I think, especially fun. So let's see, any more introduction I need to do? Let's see, Chris Tarr's not here, and he's taking care of some new responsibilities up in Wisconsin. I'm here alone. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, as you can see at the Telos Alliance studio here in Nashville, where winter is coming along. It's going to get real cold here in a couple days. So they're even talking about some snow on the Cumberland Plateau. But enough about that. We're going to go down to where it's warm near, pretty close to Orlando, Florida, just north of Orlando. We're going to talk to Stephen Z. Stephen, welcome in. Good to see you.
Hey,
sir.
what's happening? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for joining us. Oh man. Are you coming to us from your home?
Yeah, I am. This is my living room where I vibe, and and spend a lot of great time listening to music and just enjoying life.
Stephen, not everybody has what looks like a Studer reel-to-reel machine in their living room. Tell me real quick what that's about.
A810. I had picked up a bunch of Studer machines from another station in the Atlanta area that was just basically getting rid of them. He said, come pick them up. I have one rule, and that is no returns. You take them, you can't bring them back. And I said, hey, that's fine. So that's when I've repaired, fixed up, and made work. I have 4 other ones left to do now.
We're
my personal machine.
We're going to look more closely at some refurbishing. It was Jordan Tuck, a recent guest. He's been on a couple times.
Yes.
It turned me on to you saying, hey, you want to know another guy that loves to rebuild equipment? He is a fun engineer and a former or maybe current air personality. And that is Stephen Z. Stephen, how do you say your last name?
Zagony.
Zagony.
Like Agony with the Z. Agony with the Z.
Well, Z is like the end, so maybe it's the end of the agony.
The end of the agony. Perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
I can remember that. That's good.
Could be.
That's good.
Before we check in our first break, and by the way, right after our first break, we're going to talk about refurbishing Studers. We're going to talk about vintage audio processing. Vintage depends on your definition of vintage. We're not going back to tube processing, but we're going to see what Stephen considers vintage. We got a real special section in the show about KFRC, and especially the KFRC Sturgeon. And if you don't know what that is, stay tuned. You're going to love it. But before we take our first break, Stephen, tell me about the T-shirt, the tie-dye look, and what's the call letters there?
This is WVLG out of the Villages here in Florida. We're on 640 AM. We have two translators, one on 102.7, the other one on 104.5. And the shirt is an event that we had called Grow Stock, which was about a year ago. You look at the bottom of it. The Villages soundtrack. That's our moniker. And Grow Stock was basically a tribute to Woodstock. Exactly. So we had these tie-dye shirts made and dressed in our 60s attire, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, I have some pictures being at the event that I sent you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll have lots of pictures coming up, some video too. This is a fun episode, but we get to learn about vintage stuff, and similar to Gordon Tuck, except Jordan Tuck, Jordan's a little bit younger. He is younger than some of the equipment he refurbishes. I'm going to guess, Stephen, that you are as old as most of the equipment that you refurbish.
Older. Actually, I'm older. Yeah. Older.
All right. This Week in Radio Tech is brought to you in part by our wonderful sponsor, AIR, AIIR.com. Here's Ricky Lee.
Hey, it's Kirk Harnack, and I'm here with Ricky Lee, the CEO of AIR. Ricky, you guys make a fantastic automation system, but streaming is a really big deal. Tell me about streaming with AIR.
It really is. We've got a beautiful streaming platform with an incredible dashboard with fantastic analytics. And you can buy it for just $20 a month, all you can eat. No limits on bandwidth or bit rates. And you can also record shows as well. So if you like to deliver on-demand content for $20 a month, you can stream and deliver that on-demand content to an RSS feed that can feed your radio player, your mobile apps, or a podcast that people can download and enjoy.
Now, $20 a month, that must be for just some slow MP3, right?
No, MP3, AAC, and we also now support HLS, which is big in the industry right now.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. How do I start to explore or find out more about streaming through AIR?
You go to air.com, AIIR.com/streaming, and from there, with a credit card, you can sign up and get started.
Check it out. I really appreciate AIR.com sponsoring our show. Of course, they're the makers of Playout One. If you need an automation system that even you can get music scheduling with it, a little extra cost every month, but it has a music scheduler function, and the web voice tracking works amazing. You can also go live. You can do live shows with Playout One. We use it at our 21 radio stations and love it. Check it out from AIR, AIIR.com. All right, it's Kirk Harnack and Stephen Zagony is our guest today, Stephen Z. Stephen, let's jump right in. We got a lot of pictures and video to look at, so let's jump right into audio processing. We got a couple pictures here. If Suncast could pop one up, tell me. Oh, I think I know what we're looking at. That looks like what I used to deal with when I was a contract engineer years ago. What do you like here?
That was the competition killer of the 80s, basically. You have your mod monitor up top there, which is what that's actually a new piece.
Yeah,
but
it sure is.
But the compeller in front, and then I have a stereo expander into a pair of prisms, and then into the prisms into the 8100, which has a card 5 in it, and then the composite clipper on the bottom. And that was what you jumped out of the dial with back in the day.
So
it sounds so good.
The compeller was really good at getting the levels right, even when the disc jockey didn't. Right?
Correct. It was basically a automatic volume control.
And that Orban spatial expander, I love the way that thing worked, because if you read the manual, you read the theory behind the way it works, it didn't just bump up the L minus R, the difference in the two channels, which was a common trick, and didn't always result in a helpful transmission, because it also could increase multipath effects. But the Orban spatial expander worked on just the leading edge of transients, because that's the time that your ears and brain determine direction, is on the leading edge of transients, not on a sustained note. And so Bob Orban designed this thing to increase the stereo width only on leading edges, and therefore you minimized negative effects to your multipath.
Right. Exactly.
I learned all that from the manual.
Yep, that's right.
And then below that you've got the Texar audio prisms. What did or what do you like about the Texar audio prisms? Why do they sound so good to you?
Prisms do is they act more like they help balance the spectrum. So if you have too much high end, it'll bring the high end down. If there's not enough high end, it'll bring it up. Or if it's just right, it does nothing at all. And all the other four bands, you have your presence, you have your high band, your presence, your mid, and then your lows. And it does them all independently the same way. So basically, you have a very transparent sound coming out of the prisms before they go into the Optimod. The Optimod doesn't have to work as hard.
Right.
So that reduces pumping effects, any kind of, excessive clipping or excessive limiting. So if you're looking for a very transparent, natural sound, those are great for that.
Let's go ahead and go to the next picture, because it also shows the Orban. I think we had a second picture in there. Yeah. Now there's
card 5. Yep.
Yeah, you've got a card 5 in the Orban, and that replaced the original compressor card in the Orban, telling the Orban, hey, you don't have to work as hard. You already got pre-processed audio coming in. Yeah. But you've got some test probes in the prism. I think I know what you're doing, but why don't you describe it?
So basically, there's a pink noise generator that's built into the audio prisms. You turn on that pink noise generator, and there's certain levels. I use a Simpson 260. And for instance, the recommended setting for the high band might be +3. So you want to adjust. If you take those covers off, there's covers, the ones that say audio prism on them. There's EQ mix output settings. You want to adjust those, each band that you put the probe in, you want to adjust each band so that it shows the proper voltage reading on the Simpson meter. Like for instance, I think I have it in the presence band. I think that's what I have it in now.
It is, yeah.
So you want to adjust the presence band. If it calls for setting the presence band at +4, you want to adjust that mix EQ until you have +4. And then each band...
I was just saying, what's helpful here is that you're using pink noise that's internally generated in the prisms, and pink noise is equal energy per octave, octave, and that's and so musically, pink noise is pretty useful as opposed to white noise or brown noise. Pink noise it lets us set things up on an octave basis, which is pretty much how we hear anyway. And this instead of guessing or just fiddling and adjusting, it lets you see on a voltage scale how much each band is contributing. The other thing that I would just point out, and then we'll move along, is that there's another procedure. I don't know if this was recommended in the manual or something that I just came up with, but I would end up feeding pink noise into both of them, the exact same pink noise, not using two independent pink noise generators, but feed the same exact pink noise into both prisms. And then I would reverse the phase, or I would just look at the L minus R on the Orban Optimod. There was a meter setting for L minus R.
There is.
And I would fine tune the prisms for a minimum L minus R, because I didn't want, I wanted the stereo field to be expanded if it was appropriate by the Orban box, but I didn't want my processing to artificially and constantly increase the L minus R. I wanted that to be exactly the same on both channels. And so
Right.
peak noise and nulling got you the processing to be exactly the same. Okay. Sorry for the lesson. I didn't mean to take over the show.
That's fine. But balancing all these mix outputs will give you a nice spectral balance going into the Optimod. And that way the Optimod just basically loafs. Doesn't have to do a lot. Now, some people will go in there and by ear, they'll say like, oh, I need to boost a high end or boost this or whatever. Then you're causing artifacts to happen if you do that. So you have to be very careful with that. They're like, okay, well, I'll go ahead. I'll get all the voltage balances right, but then I'll go in and tweak it extra according to how they hear it.
Sure. So you have a balancing act between listening and seeing the voltages that, the energy levels you're dealing with, so that you can get, that nothing's really crazy or out of bounds, or because your ears were messed up that day or you had bad speaker, whatever.
Exactly.
You had two different ways to aim the rifle, to hit the target with what you're looking for. One was your ears and one was your eyes with the voltage. One more thing, if we go back to that picture, Suncast, underneath the Orban was a Modulation Sciences. What was that box?
That's a composite clipper.
If I remember, now the Orban didn't have a composite clipper. As I recall, Bob Orban didn't really care for composite clippers. But
they do have safety clippers, but that's just to protect overshoots.
Right. And the safety clippers, though, were in the L minus R domain, left and right. But the Mod Sciences is a composite clipper. And I recall that the genius of the Modulation Sciences composite clipper was that the first thing it did was remove the stereo pilot. And then it would clip the remaining composite signal and then filter it so there weren't any distortion products appearing where they shouldn't. And then with this clean clipped composite signal, it would re-inject the original stereo pilot in proper phase with the signal. And therefore you had a composite clipper that ended up being as clean as could be done in the analog domain at the time. Yeah. You didn't want to use too much of it. Yeah.
Originally, it was designed just for filtering out overshoots. Like, for instance, if you let's say you have the processor at the studio and you want to send your composite STL over to the transmitter, it was just there supposed to help protect with overshoots over the STL.
You're right.
But
You're right.
And people realize, wait a minute, I could crank it up a little bit and get some loudness out of this.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yep.
Cool. Well, our next topic, and we got to keep flowing because we got a lot to talk about. Our next topic has to do with. Hang on, I just lost my place here. Let me go back to it. Oh yeah, console refurbishment. Is it? Suncast, does that look good for our next topic here? Console refurbishment. Good. All right. Well, unfortunately, these are not necessarily ordered. So, Stephen, just take it away and start describing what we're seeing here. That's pretty. That console.
Yeah. You are seeing. I'm not sure how many of these that they produced, but this is out of Universal Studios Orlando. It was custom made in black. Most PRE consoles, if you look at the consoles underneath on the shelf, they're that beige color. That was the normal color for PRE consoles, but this one here was special made in black with white meter movements as opposed to the yellow, or that kind of yellowish color that they were.
Right.
And the wood sides are like a dark cherry. It's beautiful. I mean, if you look at it in this picture and see it in person, it's completely different. It looked the work they did on it was incredible and extremely rare. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next picture. What we got next, Suncast? Oh, a little closer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see how they put the white graphics on there, the black with the white, really made the white top really nice. And in the dark, it just looks so great, because all you saw were the lights from the meters and the buttons, and the white would pop out from the graphics. Looked really good. Just very, very, very clean and very clean aesthetic to it.
All right, what's next? Oh, just a good side view there. And there you can see that cherry wood color.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right. Oh, guts.
Now guts. That's guts, and that's one of the Studer pictures.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
So I confused some of these. Sorry about that.
yeah, that's a backplane board from a Studer A810.
Wow, I didn't realize that a Studer reel-to-reel would have so many, parallel looking boards there. That's why I grouped it with the console. I figured that was a console.
Yeah, all the boards
Okay.
inside there are modular.
Mhm.
There should be a picture that shows all the boards actually in the packaging. There's your
Okay, well,
your record. Yeah.
Mhm. Let's keep on. We're gonna mix two topics here. Another view. I guess that's
Yep.
the Studer also. Okay.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
Ooh, what's
That's
that?
the back of the counter board. It has a LED counter, and that's the actual driver chip and the two capacitors that were
Oh,
on
this is
that board. Which
the time counter on the Studer reel-to-reel.
correct. And those
Wow.
caps are replaced, of course. There's one thing about the caps. They're made by a company called Fracco, which is a German company. They're actually really good caps, but with age, they tend to short out.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you definitely want to get rid of all the Fracco caps if you can, which I did.
Let's see what's next
Yeah.
then in our console. So these are all
There's
the
the
Studer
modules.
boards. Yeah.
Those are all the boards that go into that backplane. Yep. There's some
Now,
logic board.
is that how they were handed over to you, or did you organize them this way?
I organized them like that. They were all in the machines. The machines were complete. Everything was in them. So I basically just stripped down the machines and just packaged everything. That
Gotcha.
way I can go and put these machines back together and swap parts from one unit to another, whichever one I decide to pick. So yeah. So some are logic control boards and some are actual audio boards.
I see the Sharpie in the upper right, and that's very important for keeping track of what's what.
That's right.
What's next? Oh, now
There
this
are
out of
your
the console.
meters.
Oh no, this is from the Studer also.
That's from the Studer also. Yep, those are the
Okay.
meters that are up top. Yep. And the actual back of the counter board, the board that you saw, it was for the LED segment. It's the back of the counter is over there to the right, and that's where that board mounts to, and then it bolts up underneath. It has all the transport controls on it.
Okay.
Your
Okay.
line
So
test
it's
board and
more
all
than
that.
just the counter. It's got the transport controls as well as the
Correct.
counter.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I was going to say, now we can get a lot more done with even smaller electronics. So that's a lot of electronics for just a counter, but it could have been too. Okay.
It is.
What's next?
Yeah.
Cast. Keeping
And
track
those
of the
are
parts.
the knobs and the push buttons. All of them have been washed and cleaned. Then once I clean them, I put them all in the bags. That way when
this is your organizational method for taking something apart,
Correct.
cleaning everything up, putting the parts, organizing them into groups when you put it back together, you know which bag to go to.
Exactly. And then depending on which machine I'm putting together, if I'm really wanting a really stellar machine, I'll find the ones that look the best and use those. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. Next.
New
parts.
capacitors, new parts. Yep. New parts for those machines.
Let me ask you, how would the electronics industry, including broadcast, recording, even television, how would our industry be different if electrolytic caps didn't wear out?
You'd probably find things in service a lot longer.
Yes,
a lot
indeed.
of times people pull things out of service because the caps are going bad that nobody wants to be bothered with recapping anything. So it's like, we'll just get rid of it, buy something else. Then you have people like me and Jordan that don't mind. They're like, hey, let's bring this stuff back to life. Yeah,
exactly.
It's great stuff. Yeah.
I think we got one more picture in this series. So let's have a look. Oh, what's that?
All right. Those are some of those boards. Those are actually the tops of them. And those are getting ready to be recapped.
Oh, okay. Now, wow. All the blue things, or just only some of them are electrolytics, or what?
Only the electrolytics. And there are some orange caps on there that appear to look like tantalum caps. And usually you would replace tantalum caps because when they go bad, they go to a dead short. But those are actually aluminum caps. And they are good caps. So you don't have to replace those. But the electrolytics, yes. And there's a few Praco caps on there that need to be gotten rid of. And the Phillips ones, there's some blue Phillips caps. But all the other blue caps that you see on there, the ones that have, they're basically like one piece. They don't have any silver on top. Those are, I believe they're metal film caps. And those don't have to be replaced. But everything's extremely high quality with Studer.
Yeah.
I mean, no corners cut.
I think that's our last picture in this series. Studer, for years, had a repair and parts depot or facility here in Nashville, where I live. It was on Elm Hill Pike. And years ago, I mean 30 plus years, 40 years ago, I needed some Studer parts immediately. And I actually was a small plane pilot at the time. I flew to the Nashville airport, got a taxi cab over to the Studer facility. I already called them and they had the parts waiting in a bag for me. Got the parts, cab back to the plane, flew the plane back to Paducah, Kentucky. And then 2 hours later, I had the reel-to-reel going again. So that was my adventure to Studer.
Well, Studer equipment was highly used in a lot of recording studios. I mean, that was like one of the major brands used. Yeah, like the A80s and the A820s were the mastering machines and multi-track machines. And so, I could see a town like Nashville having a depot for that.
Yeah, they have plenty of business from that. Hey, folks, we're talking to Stephen Zagony. Stephen is an engineer who's been through a lot of fun. He's worn out from all the fun, and he still has fun with a local station there in the Villages in Florida. I didn't know they had radio stations, and they do. And he loves to rebuild equipment too, just like our previous guest, Jordan Tuck. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and be back with more stories about some of the things that Stephen is doing, including we've got some great pictures and video from KFRC. So we're going to be looking at that here pretty soon. I'm Kirk Harnack. It's This Week in Radio Tech, and we're going to be back after this word from our friends at Broadcast Bionics.
Welcome to the Bionic Studio. The Bionic Studio brings all audience interaction to the fingertips of a production team in radio, TV, and podcast. Our workflow-led system is working 24/7 around the world for small broadcasters and national and international networks. Our telephony module, Bionic Talk Show, allows cost-effective centralization, remote operation, scalability, and resilience across an entire network of stations, but at the same time is used in single-studio self-op environments. Social media curation and activity is now considered a broadcast-critical part of programming. Bionic Social means the studio isn't overwhelmed with a wall of interaction from an ever-growing number of social platforms. We combine SMS, MMS, and email together with a speech-to-text service for listeners using smart speakers. We enable studio teams to curate, filter, and display all platforms in one place, and post text, images, and video content to multiple platforms in one operation. Effortless collection of video content with Bionic Director has helped position some of the world's most successful stations as leaders in viral content, generating appointments to listen and free marketing via retweets and shares. Bionic Contest enables end-to-end tracking of on-air competitions, live reads, and prizes. These could be on-air contests, automated SMS entry, or online. Anywhere, and Skype TX for Radio brings high-quality audio and video contribution into the studio with ease. No need for dedicated PCs to run different applications. Everything is controlled within the Bionic Studio UI, and incoming connections are visible to users along with all other platforms. Our codec integration enables connection, algorithm configuration, and directory to a wide range of IP and ISDN codecs. The Bionic Studio, a unique suite of products designed to enable your talent to work smarter.
From Broadcast Bionics, and I got to tell you, they don't just have Bionic Studio, although that could be the whole company right there with all the things that it does for you. Virtual Rack is something that you also might want to check out from Broadcast Bionics. It makes implementing software, like containerized software in your broadcast, it makes it easy. You don't have to know all about Linux. You don't have to know about Kubernetes or Portainer. You just use the interface that's in Virtual Rack, and it is amazing. Check it out. Whether it's the Bionic Studio, Virtual Rack, or any of the other things that they do that really help us in radio to be much more relevant and connect with social media and our audiences better. Check it out from bionics.co.uk. Broadcast Bionics. Thanks so much for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. All right. Hey, our guest is Stephen Zagony. He is here with us. Stephen, where are you in Central Florida today?
I'm in Inverness, Florida, which is it's like West Central Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Inverness. There's an Inverness, Mississippi. I wonder how many Invernesses there are. Doesn't seem like there ought to be very many, but yeah. There, in fact, there's a close to 2,000-foot tower in Inverness, Mississippi. It belongs to Mississippi Public Broadcasting.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, how about that? Hey, we're going to talk next about another topic that's been a lot of fun, and that is KFRC. And I'll tell you what. How about if we set the stage with this video? Would that be okay, Stephen?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Suncast is getting this queued up. Now, this video is from Paul Patterson. Stephen, while Suncast is getting this ready, tell me about Paul Patterson. You know the guy who made this video, right?
I met him. Yep, I met him. I was out there working, and he came up, and we introduced and talked quite a bit, and he was one of the first people that tried the microphone out in the Sturgeon after I got it working. So,
okay.
Yeah, he actually did like a show from there. It wasn't broadcasted, but it came through the speakers. We were actually at a car show. The speakers were singing on top of the unit, and we actually had some music playing that he could segue in and out of. So it was like doing an airship, but not an airship. That makes any sense.
It seems like there was a period of time, especially in the 80s, when a lot of radio stations bought these boom boxes that were on trailers, or they'd get an RV. Yeah,
somebody was selling one here in the Inverness area. They were selling one. They wanted $15,000 for it. And I was like, gosh, I would love to have one of those. I really would. But $15,000 was a lot of money. Somebody bought it. I don't know who. I was thinking you could have a hard time selling that. It's not like something that everybody would buy, but somebody bought it. Okay. That's cool.
Wow.
But
all right. Well,
they were neat.
I think
they looked like a giant boombox. Yep.
KFRC was a kind of a pioneer in remote vehicle. Stations have done remote vehicles for years and years and years, but to do one as fancy and beautiful as KFRC's, tell you what, let's roll this video and we're going to listen to it toward the end. When a little bit of music's playing, Suncast is going to reduce the volume or cut it off, and we'll just talk over the end of it, telling us what you know. But let's hear from Paul Patterson right now.
This was a mobile unit that Dr. Don Rose and all the great personalities used to cruise around the Bay Area, and they were broadcasting live from the Sturgeon.
Here we go.
Well, thanks for joining us. This is the KFRC Mobile Sturgeon, and a young man like me, I grew up as a wee, I think maybe I was like 1 or 2. No, I was like probably 14 when this thing was out rolling around at the fairs and stuff, and I fell in love with it. So much that I went out when I finally grew up, and then grew up a little bit more, and then had some money, got a GMC motorhome just like it. So this is an interesting piece of machinery. It's built out of what's called a GMC motorhome, and the reason it looks different, a lot of times you could look at this and say, it looks very futuristic, it's because it is. GM was late to the RV game, and they had to reinvent the motorhome to try to get a space in the market. They were selling a lot of truck chassis for people to put kind of crummy houses on that no one wanted to drive. They needed to open up a new market segment because they were late to the game, so they reinvented the whole thing. The Corvette and Cadillac people were put on this and were told, make something new. So that's why it's such a radical design. A lot of these that were made into studios were originally what was called a trans mode. It was something that was designed to be a shell, and it could be your mobile sales showroom or whatever. A lot of the mobile studios this year are made out of that, but KFRC was there before anybody else. So this one's made out of a 1975 Eleganza. And now it's the Mobile Sturgeon, so you can see some things remain from the motorhome and some things are totally Sturgeon unique. Let me show you. position.
Okay.
Dr. Don Rose was the frequent flyer in this spot because you could look out the window, talk to the audience, and still run the show. But the producer could use the regular board in the back to be able to fire up all the carts and do all the magic. Then they could see each other, and this is far enough away that you could have a good separation.
610 KFRC. John Evans from the 610 newsroom, and Dr. Don Rose here in the music room. Okay, Guy, breakfast time. Now I must preface the feeding of Roscoe. Incidentally, Roscoe, Beverly says this is her favorite time of the day when we feed you breakfast, right? Guy! Yes, it's me, Bobby Ocean, part of the festivities and celebration. KFRC, San Francisco, Shotgun Tom Kelly and Sue Hall.
Hey, Tom, it's so great to hear you. Are you going to come back again?
Yeah.
We love having you in the Bay Area.
And now here's the lovely and talented Sue Hall.
Thank you very much. I'm just trying to live, baby. What a tough act to follow, I tell you.
KFRC San Francisco with the best music. It's 10 o'clock, and I'm Candy.
It's been all right. I got music on the way from Eddie Money, Jackson Brown, Bee Gees, and so much more. 509 and John McFlanagan.
50 to 60%.
For quality and savings, begin every decorating project with a visit to Standard Brands Paint. KFRC, just an early morning buzz at 10:17. I'm Dave Sholin. KFRC San Francisco with the best music. It's 4 o'clock, and I am Mark McKay.
KFRC, I'm Bill Lee. Marvelous Mark has gone, as you may have already guessed, because he was so depressed, couldn't get a winner in the cash call contest. But I'm willing to put your powers of retention to the test. Listen closely to the latest jackpot I got. $1,800.61. Sometime before I get out of here tonight, I will commence to make a cash call to one of you all. The only thing to remember is to pay attention. And I thought I'd mention, don't leave your phone alone. Stay at home with KFRC.
KFRC, Dr. Don looking out over the Golden Gate on another gorgeous morning with that bumper-to-bumper traffic. On the amazing AM, if no one said it to you, I'd like to be the first. Good morning.
All right. I think the rest of the video may have too much music for us to play right here. I didn't realize Bill Lee. I think now Broadway Bill Lee was at KFRC.
Broadway Bill Lee, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know Bill,
names,
not well, but we're friends. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. My
He's
goodness.
from my hometown.
I was just thinking about, I was doing some math on the years here when that video was produced about 6 years ago. In the description, they mentioned that the KFRC Sturgeon was inaugurated 35 years before that. So that puts it back in the early 80s, like 83 or so, maybe 84.
Yeah, 83, even 1981. All the way through, 83, 84. I think 86 is when they retired it the first time.
Well, and now I was just thinking that was a long time ago. But wait a minute, I was doing radio then. I was a contract engineer starting in 84, which means I started my engineering career a little bit before that. Wow. I'm old. Maybe so are you, but
we all are.
We've got a few KFRC pictures here that Suncast has ready to go. So let's just buzz through some of these. Tell us what we're looking at here. This looks like you and a reunion of what, talent?
Okay, yeah, that's my mind is running so slow today. Sorry. The gentleman in the burgundy color is the man that owns it right now.
Oh, okay.
That's Bobby Ocean. On the other side of him, that's wearing the blue.
Oh my gosh, that's Bobby Ocean! Wow,
that's Bobby Ocean, the coolest people in the world. I got to hang out with him a little bit when I was there, and then of course me, that goopy person right there on the other side of Chris. And
can't miss you.
Oh, you can't miss me. And then all the way to the right is Chris's partner, and that's Brian Schaefer. Super nice guy too.
Nice. Let's see what's next here. Let's buzz on through some of these. And okay, there you are. This is inside the Sturgeon, right?
Yep. As I was working on that board. Yep.
Okay. All right, next. Oh, okay.
And
There you
I
are working
am.
on it.
Working on it. Yep. Sending audio signal through it and getting left, right channel to balance and so forth and so on. I did a
Gotcha.
complete recap on that board too while I was there.
Oh, wow. While you're there. Okay. Okay. Next.
Yeah. And I am down low, just doing more testing and seeing if things are communicating with things.
I see that the headphones that you're using are also from the 1980s.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, those cost the 4 triple S. Okay, there. Oh, and it's got the Marty mast. Is that like a Wilbert pneumatic mast?
It is. And they just got it repaired, as a matter of fact, before I got there. Somebody had left it up and drove underneath a low elevation and bent it.
Of course they did.
So they had to fix it. Yeah, of course they did.
Well,
yep, so
do you know, did they ever have a safety switch on it so it had to be down before the engine would start?
no, they did not.
Oh.
Not that
gosh.
technology. That was probably way before that. Yeah, everything was manual. Exactly.
All right, next.
Yeah.
I'll give you
And there
better
I
view.
am testing it out.
Okay, so the console was near the back end of the vehicle, right? That's the
It
back
was
window.
in the back end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some signatures, some on the wall, some well wishes and signatures. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. A lot of signatures from jocks that have been there. And yeah, a lot of really important people signed that. As a matter of fact, I signed it somewhere. I don't know if they erased it, maybe. I'm just kidding.
Okay. What's next?
My signature's up there somewhere. Yeah. And that's me with Bobby Ocean.
Okay.
Love his shirt.
Very cool.
Isn't his shirt cool or what? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is. What's next? Oh, okay. Another view of the outside. So it had air conditioning, looks like.
It did. Yes.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't use it. We didn't use it much. Because it had to run off of a inverter or generator.
Okay. Oh, here's some video.
And there's a video of it. Yep.
Little short video.
Yep. Yep. Look in there, you can see the meters kicking because the board's actually operational at this point.
That was so cool. When we just they played the music. Everything was originated out there when they were on remote, right?
Actually, I fixed those cart machines too. I have boxes and boxes of parts for those cart machines. I bought them with me. So if they wanted to play those carts, they could. So the whole idea was to make it as authentic as possible. And there's me with Mike Novak.
Oh, it's Mike Novak. Okay.
Yep.
Well, this is our last picture
one.
from this series. That's so awesome. So what was when you think of KFRC, what really excites you about what that station representative and the energy, the formatting, the talent? What's most memorable to you about it?
What excited me was I had watched some YouTube videos. They had Town Shotgun Kelly. You heard some of his talking there. Sue Hall.
I did, yeah.
And,
I've met him. Yeah.
I was watching them, and I'm like, man, that was radio when people had so much fun. You know, radio was so much fun back in those days. It really was, and it was an AM. It wasn't even an FM. You know, but still, it was great, and it was just legendary. And for many years, I didn't know whatever happened to the Sturgeon vehicle. I kept searching and searching and finally ran into the person that brought it. And he said he had it and you had refurbished it, physically, and was taking it to car shows. And I mentioned him. I said, well, does any of the equipment inside there work? And he goes, no, we're just using a little vacuum mixer. We got microphones plugged into it. We got speakers up on top. And I'm like, wouldn't it be nice if you could actually make that equipment work authentically? So when people do come look at it, they're not just props. I mean, including the cart machines. That's what the cart machines need to work too. So he thought about it. And 3 years later, I get a call from him. Hey, you want to come to California? So we're ready for you to come and get the stuff working. I'm like, sure, because I'm all about reviving that old equipment. I love it. There's something, there's a soul about it. All that old analog equipment has soul to it. I mean, there's a statement to it, the way it looks, the way it feels. It's heavy. There's buttons you can push. There's meters movement.
Yeah.
It's great.
You know what amazes me, and I know we look back at that equipment with a little bit of rose-colored glasses, and most of us, especially those who worked at big stations, even medium stations, there was an engineer's shop, and it was typically just full of parts and stuff and things that were getting worked on, and oscilloscopes and voltmeters and all that stuff, and we were always busy, and it was always kind of messy. And these days, the stations that I go into, that maybe I'm part owner of, we have a very small shop, just enough to pull something out, open up, and have a look at it. But it's different now. But isn't it interesting how if you gave me one of those triple decker cart machines and said, "Here, refurbish this, make it work," well, I already know it might need new motor bearings, it might need a new top bearing on that long capstan shaft it had, it might need all new. Yeah. It might need all new capacitors down in the power supply area. Yeah. It's probably going to need all new capacitors in the playback and tone detection boards. And yet I would take such pleasure, as would you, in replacing all that and making it and replacing the light bulbs in it. Now Jordan would replace them with LED replacements, probably.
Right. I've actually done LEDs on some things. That depends on how authentic the LEDs look. If they look too LED-ish, no, I don't want to be bothered with it. They have to have be very close to the incandescent look. That very warm kind of look. Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
And again, there's a soul to that stuff, and not only is there a soul to it, but I love the sound of analog. I really do. I'm an analog guy in a digital world. That's what I call myself. And there's just something about it, the tactile feeling and watching the tape moving, even a turntable, watching the actual record spinning and the stylus playing. There's just something about it. It just goes along with the sound. Yeah. Reading the record covers, the gatefolds, with the artwork, it all goes together,
It totally does. And sadly, I have a son, 15 years old. He will never know. Now he knows other things.
He'll never know.
But he'll never know that, what we had. Of course, back then we didn't have Minecraft and Roblox and, the stuff that my son thinks are really cool. So, am I missing out? I don't know. I'm like you. I really appreciate that older stuff.
There's a lot of younger people that they're like my daughter, for instance. She's the only 20-year-old that probably knows what an 8-track tape is. But, she's even really taken an interest in it. But the whole thing is, if you didn't grow up in that time, in that atmosphere, it's that time. It all went together. Yeah, in 2025 and put the stuff together, it's sort of, but the atmosphere is so different. For instance, if you look at my living room in the background here, my whole house is like this. It's all done in retro. You walk in there, it's like walking into a time capsule. And I love it. It's just, it's great. I got these big, tall JBL L222 tower speakers in my living room from 1979. They sound phenomenal. And all analog. Everything's analog. Yeah.
We've got to take our next break here in a second. But you said 1979. That reminds me. Here in Nashville, there's a recording studio that is called, the name of the studio is Welcome to 1979. And it's all analog. It's all analog. You can record straight to disc if you want. Straight to vinyl if you want to. To a master lacquer. And the gentleman who owns it,
the gentleman from Bob Mara.
Exactly. And his wife owns Mara Machines, and they refurbish
machines.
Typically MCI. Wow.
MCI JH series. Yeah.
We can have so much fun. We got to hit this this announcement for a couple of sponsors. We're talking with Stephen Zagony. He's our guest, and we're just having a blast. We got to have Stephen back sometime with some more stories. Our show's brought to you in part by Angry Audio. And Angry Audio doesn't make stuff that's 40 years old. They make new stuff, but you know what? They make an audio console that might make you feel like you're manipulating some older equipment. Very friendly. It is the Rave audio console. It's analog. It's all analog, and sounds great. And here's what you're going to like about it. Like Stephen was just talking about, it's heavy. It is a heavy sucker. You can't just pick this up and throw it across the room. Well, I guess you could, but you'd really do some damage if you did. This is a beautiful 8-fader console, 8 inputs. It's got 4 mic/line inputs, and then 4 more line inputs. It has a couple of different mix-minus buses for telephone and for a codec. The monitor and headphone volume controls are also linear controls. That's interesting. A lot of folks love that. And look at the back of it. The connections are all, well, except for the mics, the connections are all Studio Hub connectors. So they're easy to wire up. You can adapt them right over to XLRs if you want to, or you can use there's different ways to hook up Studio Hub. It is easy, and you always get a great connection because they're gold-plated connectors, and they're all balanced audio ins and outs. This thing is just a gorgeous console. When you feel it, you feel the faders, you feel the heaviness of it, you feel the quality of the switches. This is good stuff. Designed by Mike Dosh, and Mike Dosh designed consoles at PR&E that we were just talking about. The Rave console, absolutely beautiful, very affordable, and yet super duper high quality. It will be with you, not for years, but for decades. It's that good of an audio console. And of course, the audio quality is super duper clean. Check it out. The website is angryaudio.com, angryaudio.com. And you can pick one up from your favorite dealer. They sell through the usual dealer network. So talk to your favorite dealer about a Rave audio console from Angry Audio. Hey, our show is also brought to you by some of my favorite people, Josh Bone at Max Connect. And Josh put his company on the map for this service called Max Connect Wireless. Now, Max Connect Wireless, there are so many places where you still have a hard time getting good internet, or maybe you need some backup internet. And there's been a number of times when I have used my Max Connect 4G LTE modem to provide internet where it wasn't available, either because of a service outage, or it hadn't been installed yet, or it was never going to get installed. And we've had great luck with this product. A couple of the features that you get with the Max Connect, you get a static IP address. So that means you can remotely go straight into a piece of equipment if that's what you need to do. Of course, we recommend, passwords and even VPN if you can. You can, not only do you get a static IP address, you also are on a portion of the cell network that the ordinary citizen doesn't get to use. And that means that if you're in a crowded location, as so many times we're doing a live remote broadcast from a crowded location, a ball game, a parade, any place where you've got to get, maybe a news event where people are showing up using their phones, taking video, updating their Facebook, their Instagram, and all that, you get data channels that are set aside just for you. In other words, you're not crowded out by all these other people updating their Facebook and uploading pictures and things like that. You get bandwidth where you may not have expected it. So that means at halftime at a football game, you get bandwidth. Your bandwidth doesn't go away. You get solid bandwidth. So they also have partnerships now with satellite delivery companies. So you can mix and match your 4G LTE usage with your satellite usage, which may have data caps, and you can choose which one you're going to get, or one can back up the other. This is a great service, especially for transmitter sites that may be hard to get to, hard to get service to, and it's also a great service for remote broadcasts because it does work. Max Connect Wireless, check it out on the web, Max Connect. I know it's spelled funny. We got a link in the show notes, MAXXKONNECT, maxconnect.com. Check it out if you would. And thanks so much to Josh Bone and his company, his growing company, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. All right. Hey, it's Kirk Harnack. Stephen Zagony is here. Stephen, we're running out of time, so let's keep rolling down the runway here. We've got pictures from what I called On Air and People. So this is just quite a hodgepodge. What are we looking at here, Stephen?
That's my personal studio I had in Ocala just before I moved here. Yep, that's my studio. Yep.
That is awesome. Jeez.
That's my studio.
Oh my goodness. That is so, and the huge cart rack, the carousel cart rack.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm about to get a bigger one. If you saw the pictures of the Tomcats, there's that one cart rack in there. It's even taller than that one. I'm looking so forward to picking that stuff up. Yeah.
Is there a fine line between being a radio fanatic and being crazy?
It's about the same. It really is the same. Because most people that know me, they're like, okay, yeah. And that's my studio that I had That's another.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's my studio I had in Holiday, Florida, before I moved to Ocala. And you see the MCI GH110 right there, and the same
Yeah.
Auditronics console with the Delta part machines across the top. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. 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 All right. Moving on. Oh, this is a little video. Let's hit play on that and see what we see. We don't need any audio from it, or maybe I don't know. Let's see what's there. Looks like you got a request number there. Body Talk, the deal.
Yeah,
the dealie. That's your Auditronics console, made in Memphis, Tennessee.
Console. Yep.
On Old
Get ready to
Getwell
fire
Road.
the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Fire the next one there. Yeah.
Yeah, I installed and maintained a number of those beautiful consoles. Loved them. Good competitor to PRNE. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're great boards. That board sounds so good too. It's all transformer, Jetson transformer outputs.
Yeah.
And that,
all right,
and that's me doing a remote broadcast. Yeah.
Okay. All right, next. There's that console again, and
yeah, it's a close up of the and that's those are both in Ocala.
Okay. We got a video here. Let's see what happens. We had a lot of those Audio Pack blue carts. They were good quality. Yep. Like those. The Scotch carts may have been better, but boy, those blue ones were good too. I like those. And he had a remote start on that, I'm sure, right? Boom, hit start.
Yeah.
And there it started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to see the meters right there, but yeah, it started. New Coke by Max Headroom.
Yeah, that's right. You had a lot of retro commercials that I recorded. Just think, when you listen to the show, it gives you that whole retro sound with the commercials and everything go along with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my 99B over there on the right for recording carts with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did it do the cart erasure thing going through the whole cycle?
The whole cycle. Yep. They called Elsa. Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, the splice erasing finds the splice. Yeah, it readjusts the heads, EQs everything. It's pretty cool. That's me at WVLG.
Oh, okay. VLG. That's at the Villages, close to where you're living now.
Correct.
Close enough.
It's like about half an hour away. Yep.
Oh, live VLG remote. Live remote. Okay, with the tent, the pop-up tent over your head.
Pop-up tent. Right. That's right. Yep.
That's
VLG. Another one there at the studio. Yep.
Yep.
And that's the growth stock remote that goes with the shirt. Yep.
So it's like Woodstock, but yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly. Like a tribute to Woodstock. Exactly. And what I did with that was really special was I actually set up actual mic booms instead of having the little desktop microphones that most remotes use. Actually used real mic booms, mounted into a panel, clamped it down to the table so it wouldn't move. And the way I set it up is we use a wide orbit there. So I'm like, instead of just doing a remote with break-ins, why don't we do our whole air shifts from there? So there's a laptop there, and we have it logged in remotely into the wide orbit at the studio. And we have somebody at the studio that basically just turns faders up and down. So that way we're able to control the wide orbit, and the audio goes over the Comrex access that we're using there. So if you listen on the radio, you think you're in the studio, but you're not. And we're actually able to start our songs and fire everything off remotely through the laptop, using wide orbit.
Sure.
So
that's nice.
And there you can see wide orbit on the laptop right there, all controllable from there. Yep.
Nice.
Oh, that's I'm sorry. This is the KFRC studio.
Actually, it looks like a check that out. Video. Yeah. Okay. So we're back in the KFRC Sturgeon here. This is after you have fixed it up. Is that right?
Exactly.
What is the clear plexiglass that's covering parts of the console? What's that purpose?
That was to keep people from touching the controls.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that was so people would just touch what they need to touch and don't mess with nothing else.
No, that's right. Okay.
Yep. They were backing up, and there's the back end there. People walking up to look at it. It was at a car show.
This is our last picture here.
Yeah, that's all of us in front of the KFRC studio building, what used to be the KFRC studio building.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's me, Chris, and Brian Schaefer. I have my 95 Wine Enough Tampa shirt on, of course. But that was a lot of fun. That was a fun trip.
Nice. Wow. So now the home studio you showed us before with the Auditronics consoles and all the Delta ITC cart machines, do you have that reset up somewhere else now? Is that
I
room
do
up
not have it set up. No, it's not set up yet. As a matter of fact, Jordan's like, you need to get your studio working so you can have it on TWiRT, you know? And, but yeah, I bought this house. All those other houses were rentals. So I really couldn't do what I wanted to do. But now I actually own this house that I'm in now. I can do it the way I want to. And now I'm undecided. It's like, okay, I want to do what I want to do, but I don't want to hurry. I want to do it, you know, so nothing is getting done. So, but I really need to just go ahead and do something.
So
I miss it.
You know, most of us have limited space, right? So I can imagine if I'm ever invited to stay overnight at Stephen Z's house, he's going to say,
the couch.
"Well, we have a guest we have a guest room, Kirk, but there's a radio station in there too. So you'll have to
exactly.
sleep with the lights on.
You have to sleep next to the lights on. You know, the audio processing, the meters lighting up the room. Yeah.
Wow.
You feel at home though, you know.
So I'll tell you what, we're going to do our last commercial break coming up here in a second. And when we come back, we've got one more picture to show, and it's a pallet full of goods that's your next project. Do I have that?
That's right.
Do I have that tease correct here? Is that?
Yep, you do. You do. I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll only have one picture left, but that's going to be,
right.
I think that's right. Let me make sure I'm correct about that. Do I have just one left? No, we didn't get to the Studer pictures. Tell you what, let's hit the Studer pictures real quick. Suncast, that last folder called Studer. Let's have a look at those three pictures. Wow. What is this? This looks like ABC in Chicago, where they would relay the shows to the West Coast.
That's after I bought them back here from Georgia, and I lined them up in the back porch, get ready to bring them in the house. Those are, go back to the other one. That one right there. Yeah. That one right there that's the condition they were in before I went to pick them up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's them in Georgia. That's how they were, just sitting just like that.
Uh-huh.
And that's one finished.
Wow.
That's my personal model. Yep.
Nice. A minute ago we were talking about Mara machines, where they refurbish MCI reel-to-reels and sell them to rich people for lots of money.
They do.
Yeah, I've heard they've sold 2-track machines for upwards of $15,000.
He does conversions where he'll take a 24-track machine, and if you want to convert it to a 16-track, he'll do that. You know.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. A lot of people like that because of the added headroom of having fatter tracks.
Right.
Like,
okay.
Let's take a 24 track and make a 16, make it fatter tracks. I mean, I think he's even taken 24s and made 8 tracks out of them. So it's like a 2-inch 8 track. You know, really, really thick tracks.
Have you have you rebuilt things for other people, made money through your hobby that way?
I have. As a matter of fact, I sold a triple-decker Delta ITC cart machine yesterday. I had it up for 15 minutes and it was sold.
Oh my
I couldn't
gosh.
believe it. It was, and this thing was a cream puff, and I'm like, maybe I didn't sell it for enough. So, but I got 4 more out in the garage, so I'm going to put those together, put them up. If that sells that quick, I'm going to go ahead and put more up. So.
Boy, it was a cream puff only used during the morning show.
Right.
Like only driven on Sundays. So when we come back to the story of the equipment on a pallet, and it's Stephen Z's next project. Our show this week in Radio Tech. Thank you all for joining us. We're not done yet because we're going to have this last picture you're going to be impressed by. Our show is brought to you in part by Broadcasters General Store, and they represent a lot of different manufacturers. And one of those is a favorite of you and me. And if you haven't used anything from Henry Engineering, you need to. And I personally recommend this product that we're talking about here. It's the back UPS, the back UPS from Henry Engineering. And I love this box. I have bought probably 6 of these now and put them at transmitter sites and at studio sites. Why? What does it do? Well, you know what? There are some pieces of gear that we use in broadcasting that have 2 power supplies, or maybe even 3 for a fancy server. But a lot of servers, come with 2 power supplies and a few audio processors. Like if you own an Omnia 9, that comes with 2 power supplies. If you have a Telos VX Enterprise or VX Prime Plus phone system, comes with 2 power supplies. But there are also plenty of pieces of gear, critical pieces of gear, that only come with 1 power supply. I'm thinking of maybe your EAS box. Luckily that they'll pass audio even if they're not powered typically. But Ethernet switches. Plenty of computers, workstations only have 1 power supply. So you know what you do? You power them off a UPS, but you know what? The UPS can die. And I've had plenty of those die as well. And so what I've been doing is I'll put for gear that's in a rack that only has 1 power supply, I'll put 2 power strips in the rack. And one of those power strips is I'm sorry, I've got the story wrong. I'll put 1 power strip in the rack, and that power strip is powered from this back UPS. So it'll handle 15 amps of power. And however, on the input to the back UPS, one of the inputs goes to your UPS. And so that's normally what'll handle you during a quick power outage, a few minutes, however long your UPS lasts. But the other input from the back UPS comes from just regular shore power, regular commercial power. And so when your UPS fails, as it absolutely will, I don't mean batteries run out because that means the power's out, but I mean the UPS just freaking fails, or you need to take the batteries out and change them or do some other testing on it. Well, the back UPS will switch your gear instantly over to shore power, to commercial power, and your gear stays on. I have tested this over and over again and just love it. It keeps my Ethernet switches. Some of them these days take 4 or 5 minutes to reboot, and that's off air time if you're on an audio over IP network or other computers, other playout systems. You got a problem with your power, with your UPS, and you got a problem on the air. Well, this will take care of that for you. And also, when the UPS does come back online, it will wait. You can program how long for it to wait and make sure the power is good before it switches back over to the UPS. It's also got a remote connector. You can remotely force it to change, or you can remotely monitor which state that it's in. So I've got one of these in each of my racks at our stations on Maui. I've got one in a rack in Oxford, Mississippi, and just love the thing. Very handy device, back UPS from Henry Engineering. And of course, you can get yours at the lowest price. I mean, these guys have sharp pencils. It's Broadcasters General Store, BGS. The website, bgs.cc. You go there, you'll see that. You can easily look up any piece of equipment. Just give it a search string, and it'll give you the pricing. And then if you talk to them, they can tell you when it's going to arrive. So give them a call at 352-622-7700. Thank you, Broadcaster General Store, for sponsoring This Week in Radio Tech. All right, Kirk Harnack here in our last couple of minutes, and we've got Stephen Zagony is with us. And Stephen, we got one picture to show, and let's see what that looks like. A pallet full of what?
Tomcats.
Wow, I never had the pleasure of using Tomcats. I read about them back in the 80s and drooled over the brochures. Couldn't afford one. Tell me about Tomcats.
Tomcats are amazing. They run at 15 inches per second. Now, they have their own alignment system, so they're not compatible with other cart machines. So if you record something on the Tomcat, it has to be played on the Tomcat. But they run at 15 inches per second. They sound stellar. And I've always seen pictures of them, but I've never had a chance to put my hands on one before until I went to California to work on the sturgeon. And when I worked on the sturgeon, those were in the building. And I saw them, oh my gosh, Tomcats. And they were donated. And they were going to use them in the sturgeon. So I'm like, can I have those? And they're like, sure, we'll put them aside for you. So that's a pallet that they put together specifically for me. They said, here, Steve, this is yours. All those Tomcats and the cart rack, because I wanted that wire cart rack as well.
So you're going to refurbish those and have some beautiful working Tomcats then, right?
Exactly. And the thing is having so many of them, the parts to fix those is probably non-existent. So I imagine with that many of them, I should be able to make quite a few good working ones on all of those.
Well,
that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Stephen, I gave you short notice on a tip of the week. Of course, the Tomcats are a great way to end the show. But if you have a tip, some piece of advice from your many years of refurbishing gear and having a great time on the air and meeting some cool people at KFRC and other stations, what advice would you like to leave with our listeners, if any?
My advice would be keep your analog. Because when all the digital equipment fails, when you can't stream anymore or you can't encode and decode, analog will always work as long as you have electricity. Just like terrestrial radio, it will always work as long as you have electricity. You have a transmitter and a radio. It's the best way to for reliability. Never get rid of it. Don't throw your analog equipment away in lieu of digital. Having both, that's fine, but always at least have analog for backup.
Hey, it's always great to have a backup. Absolutely. It is like having a burner phone for a backup. You lose your expensive iPhone or Samsung, and you can have a jitterbug or some other burner phone. As a
flip
backup.
Phone.
Yeah, a flip phone. There you go.
A flip phone. Yeah.
Stephen, we have to go. We're out of time, and I want to thank you so much for sharing all these pictures with us and an hour plus of your time with us. So, man, thank you, and I hope to have you back on the show again sometime.
It was a lot of fun. I look forward to it.
It sure was. You talk to Jordan, say hi to Jordan Tuck for me, and that's going to do it for that's going to do it for our show for today, friends. Coming up next week, we've got. Adam Robinson is going to be our guest. Adam Robinson's an interesting fella. I got to meet him in person at the Wabi show in Western Canada about a month ago. And Adam's going to be on the show talking to us about site monitoring and automated site monitoring. So that's a good technical topic that is going to help us out to understand what is available there. So anyway, we hope we'll see you next week. Big thanks to Suncast, our producer. Really made him work today with all these pictures and videos. So Suncast, great work. Thank you very much. Big thanks to Stephen Zagony. And we will see you next week on This Week in Radio Tech. Bye-bye.